All right, so you want to know what it really takes to make it on Fiverr, huh?
Not just the hype, the real deal.
Yeah, not those like spammy ads promising you'll be rolling in cash by next week.
Right, those make me cringe.
We're talking building a sustainable income stream.
A real business.
Exactly. And lucky for you, we did a deep dive into this video by Chris Farman,
Oh yeah, he's the Fiverr guy on YouTube.
the Fiverr guru. And seriously, he does not sugarcoat anything.
He tells it like it is,
He breaks down exactly why most people fail on Fiverr.
which is actually super insightful.
Yeah, because it helps us understand what it actually takes to succeed by looking at what not to do.
Right, it's like learning from other people's mistakes.
Exactly. And the first myth he tackles is this whole idea that Fiverr is a quick and easy side hustle.
Yeah, you know how everyone and their cat seems to think they can just throw up a gig and become a millionaire overnight?
Right, like it's some magic money-making machine.
Foreman calls BS on that right from the start.
Yeah, he's like, wake up, people.
He says that kind of mindset is actually the first step to failing on Fiverr.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little. Why is that mindset so detrimental?
Well, it all comes down to expectations.
Like you go in expecting it to be easy, and then you get discouraged when it's not.
Exactly. Fiverr, like any other business, takes real work and dedication and resilience.
It's not just some get-rich-quick scheme.
Nope, it's about building something sustainable.
And it can be stressful. Farman even compares it to a 9-to-5 in some ways.
Yeah, he actually says freelancing can be way more unpredictable and stressful than a traditional job.
Which is kind of ironic, right? Because you think freelancing, you think freedom and flexibility.
Right, not necessarily pressure and deadlines.
But that's the reality. So ditch the fantasy and embrace the hustle. What's next on Farman's list of Fiverr failure points?
Well, after mindset, he talks about strategy, or rather the lack thereof. You see all these guaranteed Fiverr strategies online, right?
Oh, totally. Like those 5 easy steps to Fiverr success type things.
Yeah, and Farman's like, please stop with the magic bullets.
Love that he calls that out.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
So what does he suggest instead of blindly following these so-called gurus?
He's a big advocate for niching down, becoming an expert in something specific.
Instead of trying to be everything to everyone.
Right, because when you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one.
It makes sense. If you can really nail a specific niche, you become the go-to person for that.
And he shares how focusing on a niche and using Fiverr's gig promotion features worked really well for him.
It's interesting. He actually shares his own strategies.
He does, but he also emphasizes that what worked for him might not work for everyone.
Right. It's not like a copy and paste kind of thing.
Exactly. And he even gives examples of other people who are killing it with totally different approaches, like Fiverr subscriptions.
Oh, wow. So it's not just one path to success on Fiverr.
Nope. There are many ways to make it work.
So for someone who's just starting out, what's the key takeaway here?
Research, research, research. Don't just blindly copy what someone else is doing.
Right. What works for one person might be a disaster for another.
Exactly. Dive deep into Fiverr. Look at what your competitors are offering, how they're pricing things. Find your own unique angle.
Don't be afraid to experiment a little too, right?
Absolutely. It's about finding what feels right for you and your skills.
Okay, so we've got the right mindset. We've got a solid strategy. What's the next hurdle on the road to Fiverr success?
Consistency. That's a big one. And it's where farming gets real about the long game.
He talks about how it's not an overnight success kind of thing.
Exactly. And he tells this great story about his partner starting a Fiverr gig. She actually ended up making more in 1 month than she was making at her full-time job.
Wow, that's amazing. But I'm guessing it didn't happen overnight.
Not at all. It took time and effort. And she was putting in the work even when the results weren't there right away.
That's the key, isn't it? Showing up consistently, even when it's tough.
Yep. Delivering high-quality work on time, going above and beyond for clients, building that reputation. It all takes consistency.
And that's what sets you apart in the long run.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you've got the right mindset, you've got a killer strategy, and you're putting in the work consistently. What else could possibly trip you up at this point?
This is where it gets really interesting. Farman's final failure point is scaling.
Scaling, like taking your business to the next level.
Exactly. He says a lot of freelancers hit a ceiling because they get stuck in that solopreneur mindset.
Like they're trying to do everything themselves.
Yeah, they're afraid to let go of control, or they think they can't afford to hire help.
So they end up burning themselves out trying to do it all.
Exactly. They become a victim of their own success.
So how do you break free from that cycle? How do you scale without losing your mind?
By embracing what Farman calls the CEO mindset.
Okay, I like where this is going.
It's about thinking bigger than just yourself, building systems, automating tasks, and most importantly, learning to delegate.
Delegating, that's a tough one for a lot of us, I think.
It can be, but it's essential if you want to truly grow.
So what does that look like in action? What does it mean to adopt this CEO mindset?
Well, Pharma gives this great example of a freelancer who hit a wall at like $10,000 a month. They were totally overwhelmed, working crazy hours, and just stuck.
I can imagine.
His advice was to start by hiring a virtual assistant, even just to handle those small, time-consuming tasks like managing emails or scheduling social media posts.
Things that free up your mental space to focus on the bigger picture.
Right.
Exactly. That's huge, right? Getting that stuff off your plate so you can actually focus on growing your business.
It's a game changer.
So instead of being bogged down with like busy work.
Yeah, you're freed up to actually, work on your business, not just in it.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop there, right?
Yep.
A VA is just the first step.
Right. That as you grow, you can start building a whole team.
Okay, so walk me through that. How do you actually go from like solo freelancer to having a team?
Right. Well, it can happen pretty organically. Like maybe you bring on another freelancer to help with certain tasks.
Like if you're swamped with editing, you get someone to help with the first drafts or something.
Exactly. Or maybe you need someone to handle your social media or your customer service.
So you start by outsourcing the things that are taking up too much of your time or that you're not as good at.
Right. And as your business grows, you might even bring on a project manager.
To like oversee everything and make sure it all runs smoothly.
Exactly. It becomes less about doing everything yourself and more about managing other people.
So you're like the conductor of an orchestra instead of the one-man band.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
It's about building a system that works, even when you're not there every step of the way.
That's the dream, right?
Huh.
Having a business that can actually run without you having to be involved in every tiny detail.
Exactly. And it all starts with that shift in mindset. From solopreneur to CEO.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Mindset, strategy, consistency, scaling. Let's do a quick recap, make sure we're giving our listeners some actionable takeaways.
That's good. Where do you want to start?
Let's go back to mindset. What's the biggest thing someone can do to shift their mindset for Fiverr success?
Ditch the get-rich-quick mentality. I know we've said it before, but it's crucial.
It's about playing the long game, right?
Exactly. Fiverr, like any business, is a marathon, not a sprint.
So instead of trying to make $1 million tomorrow, focus on building a sustainable income stream over time.
Exactly. And that means being realistic about the work involved. It's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows.
There will be challenges, there will be setbacks. The key is to not give up.
Resilience is key.
Okay, so mindset checked. Next up, we've got strategy. And I think for a lot of people, this is where they get stuck. They know they need a strategy, but they don't know where to start.
Well, remember what we talked about. It all starts with research.
Right. Becoming a Fiverr detective?
Exactly. Look at what your competitors are doing, what's working, what's not.
Find the gaps in the market, the needs that aren't being met.
And don't be afraid to niche down. It's better to be a master of one than a jack of all trades.
It's about becoming the go-to person for something specific.
Exactly. And once you've found your niche and honed your strategy, it all comes down to
Consistency.
bingo. Show up every day, deliver amazing work, and go above and beyond for your clients.
It's like building a house. You need a strong foundation of consistency to support everything else.
Perfectly said.
And then, once you've laid that foundation, you can start thinking about scaling.
Which can feel really daunting, but remember, it's a gradual process.
It's not about going from 0 to 60 overnight.
Exactly. Start by outsourcing small tasks, then gradually build your team as your business grows.
And don't forget about embracing that CEO mindset.
Thinking bigger, delegating tasks, and focusing on the strategic side of your business.
It's about building a business that works for you, not the other way around.
And that's incredibly empowering, don't you think? To have that kind of control over your work and your life.
Absolutely. And it's something that's attainable for anyone, no matter where they are in their freelancing journey.
As long as they're willing to put in the work and follow these principles.
Exactly. So to recap, ditch the get-rich-quick fantasy, embrace the hustle, find your niche, stay consistent, and don't be afraid to scale.
And never stop learning and growing. The world of freelancing is constantly evolving.
So true. You always have to be adapting and refining your strategies.
It's all part of the journey.
And it's a journey worth taking. I mean, think about the freedom and flexibility that comes with being your own boss.
The ability to set your own hours, work from anywhere, and choose the projects you're passionate about.
It's not always easy, but it's incredibly rewarding.
And with the right mindset and approach,
Hmm.
it can be incredibly lucrative too. It's like you got to work smarter, not harder, but also like still work hard, you know?
Yeah, for sure. You can't just like wish for success on Fiverr.
No magic lamp for this gig,
That,
unfortunately.
sadly. But it's cool though, because if you think about it, those 4 failure points that Farman talks about,
Mindset, strategy, consistency, scaling. Yeah.
yeah, they're not just like things to avoid. They're actually like a roadmap.
Oh, totally. Like if you flip them around, they become steps to success.
Exactly. And it's funny, right? Because we hear about this stuff all the time, like in the business world.
Yeah, those are like the fundamental principles of building any successful business.
Exactly. But we don't always apply them to freelancing, you know?
It's easy to forget when it's just you at your computer in your PJs.
Totally. And that's why I think Farman's insights are so helpful because he's basically saying, hey, freelancing is a real business.
Yeah, like treat it with the same level of seriousness and strategy that you would any other business.
Exactly. Don't underestimate it just because you can do it from your couch.
Right. It's still work and it still requires, planning and effort and all that jazz.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap things up here, I think the biggest takeaway for me from this whole deep dive,
Yeah. What's resonating with you the most?
it's that success on Fiverr or anywhere, really, it's not about finding some magic shortcut.
It's about putting in the work for sure.
Yes. And it's about being willing to adapt and evolve as you go.
Because the online world changes so fast, you got to be able to keep up
Exactly. What works today might not work tomorrow. So you got to be ready to like pivot and adjust your strategies.
and be open to learning new things.
Yes. Never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop experimenting.
That's the fun part though, right? Like it's always an adventure.
Totally. So, to all our listeners out there, whether you're just starting out on Fiverr or you've been at it for a while, just remember.
What you put in is what you get out.
Exactly. So, ditch the get rich quick mentality, embrace the hustle, and most importantly,
Enjoy the ride.
yes, it's a wild one, but it's so worth it. And on that note, we'll wrap things up for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Fiverr freelancing. Until next time, happy hustling.